What's up everybody, it's Matt from Peter Glenn, and in this video we're going to show you how to mount just about any standard binding to a board with the channel system. Let's check this out. So the cool thing about the channel is that no matter what, whether you've got EST or you've got a standard binding, you get unlimited stance options on this thing. And it actually is more durable. It's technically more durable than a standard set of inserts. It's not exponentially durable, but again, technically it is a little bit more durable. So there's absolutely no reason to kind of shy away from the channel system. So the first thing you're going to want to do before you even unshrink the board is locate these inserts. They're in a little pack that's stuck to the bottom of the board and it's inside the shrink wrap. The reason I say to do this before is a lot of people get super excited. They grab their board, they start peeling the shrink wrap off, they accidentally pop that insert pack off and then they throw it away. You need these inserts. So again, locate those before. So once you have those, basically you're going to set those next to your insert. Then you're going to take your screwdriver and there's this little plug and it's just held in with pressure so you can pry that out very, very easily with the screwdriver. And then once you have that out, you're basically going to take two inserts, put them in each channel, and then you're going to go ahead and just smush that plug right back in. So just in case you take your bindings out, the inserts aren't going to fall out of the board. Now the next thing that you're going to want to do is obviously you're going to want to make sure that you have bindings that do have a disc that is compatible with the channel. Now, most companies have this nowadays. It's not really that big of an issue. If you have older bindings and you're trying to put them on a newer board, that's where you actually might run into a problem. But again, if you get a brand new set of bindings, whether they are, again, the Burton EST, the Burton Reflex, or any binding from any other company, most of them will have a disc that actually has specific inserts for the channel. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take that disc and you're going to want to locate those inserts that are specific for the channel. Sometimes the companies will include a second set of discs. It might not all be on one disc. If you actually look at this now binding disc, you'll notice that this does have just the holes for the channel, and then they have a separate disc that is for your standard 4x4/4x2. But again, locate those discs, and that's the most important thing. Now, next thing you're going to want to do too is look at the hardware. So you'll notice this ride hardware actually comes with 8 pieces of silver hardware and 4 pieces of black hardware. The Burton bindings are very, very similar. They use silver and black hardware. Now, not all companies have discs. Some of them, basically what they do is they make the disc a little bit thicker for that in that channel spot, so you can use the same screws. But the reason they do this is if you look at the bottom of the screws, you'll actually notice that the black screws are actually shorter than the silver screws. Now the reason for that is if you look at the inserts, they stick out of the board on the channel. So the channel is a piece that goes into the board. With standard inserts, they actually go all the way through the core, so they go a little bit deeper into the board. These don't go quite as deep and they do stick out, so you actually do need a shorter screw for that. Now again, if your bindings do have that, you're going to want to locate those shorter screws, and we're basically going to take those out and keep the other screws. Obviously, just keep them around, throw them in the box. You might end up taking these bindings and throwing them on a board that has standard inserts, or maybe you have 2 boards. You're going to need those screws for that board. But again, very, very important. So once you've located the proper hardware, if you need to, sometimes you don't need to. Next thing you're going to want to do is you're actually going to move those inserts so they're just inside where you need to be on the board. And then you can kind of set the binding down, and then you'll basically want to kind of locate those 2 holes where the channel specific holes to go in those channel specific inserts. And then you're basically going to set the binding down, and you kind of look inside there, and you can obviously set it so both of them are the right distance apart, and you can see them in each of those holes. Then from there, if you need to adjust the angle on your binding, it's super, super easy. You basically just kind of lift the binding up a little bit, adjust the angle on your disc, and set it back down. Actually, I went a little too far in that one, so I'm actually going to back this off just a little bit. Boom, now once you get that set and you can see the inserts in each of those holes, you're gonna go ahead and get your hardware started. So the big thing about this is get it started. Just start screwing it in with your fingers. It'll go in easily. You should not have to force it in there. You don't want to run the risk of stripping out screws. You don't want to run the risk of stripping out your inserts. So once you get both of those started, the nice thing is you can actually slide the binding. So you can actually get both bindings mounted, And then you can actually take your tape measure and then measure again from the center of the binding to the center of the binding. And you can really slide those bindings and set them exactly where you want. That's one of the big benefits of the channel, is it gives you unlimited stance options. Literally, you can move it just a microscopic bit and you can get that thing set exactly where you want it. So once you've got everything mounted and you've got it all set, you've got it right where you want it to be, next thing you're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and tighten those screws down, and we're basically going to get them so they're snug. And we're gonna do this with just one hand. I always put one hand on top of the screwdriver just to keep it steady, but just kind of get it till it feels like it's snug. Then once you get to that point, you get both of them snugged up, give them one last little crank. And this is basically just a way to make sure that they are in there nice and good. So you don't have to crank these things to within an inch of their life. There's actually teeth inside the channel and on the insert there, and it actually pulls it up and really locks it in. So you can actually move these things around, lock them in place, and once those things are mounted and they're good and snug, they're not going anywhere. But you don't have to crank them down crazy tight. Just get it to, again, the point where it's good and snug, and you feel like if you grab it with your hand and you give it a, good little crank, it's not gonna move. And then obviously you can grab binding and you can give a, kind of a push and pull on that, and you can actually see if the binding's not moving, and then you're good to go. Then after that, you're gonna take your foot pad or cover, if your binding has it, and go ahead and reinstall that, and then your board is pretty much ready to ride. All right, well, hopefully that helped out a little bit. And as you can see, the channel system is not just for the Burton bindings with the EST system. You can put just about any binding you want on this board as long as you have the right discs. But if you have any questions beyond what we talked about in the video, definitely leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We want to make sure we can get you in some rad gear, but most importantly, we want to make sure that you can use it properly and you can get it set up properly as well. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and definitely get that notification bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. Grab yourself a board, grab yourself a set of bindings, get it mounted up, and get out and ride. Because any day of riding is a good day of riding.